So all of you, you've been in it for the long haul here. Can you tell us what you have seen in publishing, the things that have affected you personally? How have they changed since your trailblazing days, since the early days? Let's tell me what this journey has been like for you. Let's start at the other end. Lee Lynch, you want to start us off and let us know how this journey has been for you?
You threw me. I can't find it in my notes. And it's the one about
how have things affected you in publishing since your trailblazing days, since you started out?
Gotcha. Well, the big thing is I got the results that I have been working for. There are more out lesbians. Well, that's not due to me, but there are, and more diverse lesbian reading and writing about our lesbian lives. And this availability of books means I sell fewer, thus the jobs. And another thing that's happened is our journalism outlets are disappearing and conglomerating. I'm not seeing new women's periodicals, and there's almost literally no place to review books or have books reviewed. So those have all been rather big points in my career.
Very good. We all have noticed those things as well. Karen, what about you?
I had to give this a lot of thought, because if you start talking about how publishing has changed, we could talk for hours.
Yes.
The difference between publishing today and publishing 30 years ago it's a 180 change. It is absolutely different. At the time, 30 years ago, what I stumbled into was this real aura of energy where, for the first time in history, lesbian voices had a home, and our stories were being told, and we were coming out of the shadows, and there was this infectious energy. And I was lucky that there was already a freight train of distribution happening from publishers who built themselves because other publishers wouldn't take our stories, and bookstores that built themselves because other bookstores wouldn't carry our stories. And that freight train existed, and I got on to the back end of it and held on for dear life. I got lucky that it already existed. And at the time, telling our stories was absolutely radical. They did not exist. We were felons. We could lose our jobs if someone found our books. This is all true. And it's also true that our stories were mostly about cisgender, white lesbians with professional careers often. I mean, that's not exclusively, but that was overall the story I was writing to, because that's what I saw so much of. It was still radical. It still was, there were plenty of people who didn't want those stories to exist. And what I really love about today is that same kind of energy of taking voices that have not been heard from, that have been silenced and sidelined and minimized. The same fabulous energy, the same freight train. It's just different people with their own voices telling their own stories. And it feels just like it did 30 years ago when I walked into my first women's bookstore.
Wow.
So I absolutely love that.
That's wonderful. That's a great feeling. Ellen, how about your journey?
Well, I came out to myself at a women's bookstore looking at lesbian books. So yeah, things have changed a lot. I mean, we could all go through the presses that were important to us back then. Naiad, Firebrand, New Victoria, Seal, and they're pretty much gone today. Picking up on what Karen said, I felt like I was getting on a train too that had left the station, and I jumped on in again, 1989. In the 1991, 92, you don't get lucky that often in your life. And I hit two crests of interest. And the first one was getting Seal Press to publish my first book. And then a number thereafter. And then secondly, I hit a crest of interest in New York. They had decided that gay and lesbian mysteries, which was how they looked at them at the time, were the new thing. and being part of the new thing, they offered me, Ballantine Random House offered me a contract, which I grabbed. I thought it was great. And I don't know what I don't know. They had very unrealistic ideas, I think. And we were the flavor of the month for a couple of years, and then we weren't. So, but by then I had a toehold and I managed to keep a toehold there. I guess that's it. I mean, it's everything has changed in a huge way.
Thank you. Yeah, we certainly don't seem to have the outlets we used to have
No.
for getting the word out, and I understand that. Marianne, what about your experience?
Well, I started writing just really out of therapy, because I was a public school teacher, and really Karen expressed very well how, you could be fired for just even a rumor, so writing for me was very private. I didn't plan on getting published or anything. And after I retired from teaching, then I had an opportunity. Like I was saying, I didn't know which way to go at that point. And my partner was encouraging me to send in manuscript. And so I sent it lots of different places and got rejected lots of different places, and ended up at NIAID, which I thought, why submit to the biggest one when, I'm nobody, I haven't been published yet. And actually that was the answer. They had made a path that was just unbelievable at that point. It was just, they had everything down. She had it down to a science. She knew what she was doing. And for me to get in on that, just like Karen said, you jump on and you hang on, and it's like, oh my God, I couldn't believe this. And at that time, there wasn't, you couldn't really self-publish, and you couldn't really, you had a few small presses, but if you weren't what they were looking for, then your chances were really slim to get published. And now, look at the opportunities we have now. It's just unbelievable. And I think the thing that changed most for me, though, was learning how to promote myself, which I'm not good at. And having NIAID sort of leading the way and showing us how to do things, and people like Karen had started already doing things that Barbara Greer was in awe of. It's like, be like Karen, promote yourself. And really it was a trial and error kind of thing, but there was a lot of mailing lists and learning how to have parties for somebody in your friend group to have another party. And then it was just crazy. And now I have to learn how to promote myself with social media. Horrible.
Go do the TikTok.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly.
And again, I'm gonna look at your example, Karen. How do you do this?
I understand. Well, Catherine, you really can probably give us a long-term view of how things were, because you were with NIAID, and tell us about it. Tell us from how you got from there to here.
Present, not quite at the creation, but almost. Yeah. I so agree with everything that the four of you have said. And I think I particularly identify with you, Karen, just with the excitement of those early days. They were, it was extraordinary. We all felt that we were just part of something that was just world changing.
It's changing the world.
Yeah.
It was, they were, if I could wish anything for the writers of today, it would be that somehow they could share that exhilaration of just being part of something like that. I think the biggest change for me, my life began in our bookstores. I mean, that's where I met Barbara Greer at Sisterhood Bookstore in LA. And she was there with Sheila Ortiz Taylor for Fault Line. That was 1982. You know, I saw Jane Rule for the first time at Sisterhood Bookstore. And they were our community centers. They were our lifelines. They were, you know, we had such a wonderful network of bookstores. And just the fact that they have all but vanished has been just, you know, a grievous loss. But, you know, to some degree, our dreams came true. I mean, we had our own publishers, we had our own bookstores because nobody else would publish us. So we created our own world. And then the outside world discovered us, and all of a sudden Barnes and Noble is carrying our books and all those good things. And now we have today where, you know, lesbian and gay characters are in a lot of mainstream fiction that I read. It's the rocket ride has just been absolutely unbelievable. The thing that hasn't changed, I mean, it has, but it hasn't. The thing that just amazes and gratifies me are the lesbian presses that we have. Our Bold Strokes, Bywater, Bella, you know, I mean, you can go on and name them. We've got more presses today than we had back in those days, even though we lost some of the legendary names. So, I mean, that has been really, really good to see. The dynamism of lesbian literature, it continues. We've expanded into so many areas, into what, as you said, what we write about today. I just feel like I have just been the luckiest person who ever lived, and it's been so wonderful to be a lesbian and a lesbian writer. So